Hello, and welcome to Plant Based Cooking with AARP Alabama. I'm your host, Tawana Wright, and today's episode is with Chef Kimberly McNair Brock. Folks, we'd like to remind you that AARP empowers people to choose how they live as they age. AARP is a nonpartisan 501c4 organization that has over 420,000 members in Alabama. AARP's role is to advocate for those 50 plus and their families. Folks, AARP has been broadcasting these shows now for about 2 years, and we're glad to say that we have an audience that ranges from the South to North, the East, and the far West. We're glad to have you with us today. And Chef Brock, what are you going to be cooking?
We have a mess of greens today, some vegan cornbread, and a surprise, some roasted tomato chow chow.
Well, that sounds like a great mix. Folks, we want to remind you that we're here once a month. I'm going to get out of the way and let Chef McNair take over.
Hey everyone! For the second time, we've already done our cornbread and it just popped out. But I've got the skillet going here with some onions for our greens. And these are not braised greens, they're going to be sauteed greens. So I hear a lot of people saying, oh, are the greens crunchy? They are as done as you would like for them to be. So I'm going to just get our onions going, sauteing. I've got a little safflower oil today, but just any kind of neutral oil. Turn that skillet up just to get them going just a tad. So I've got some hot water here. And what makes the cornbread vegan is the milk and the egg, okay? So what I'm using, or what I used today, was oat milk. Just substitute, cup for cup for oat milk. You can use almond milk if you want, or, it's just totally up to you. So, and just following along with the recipe. So I have some flaxseed meal here. And I'm just putting it in the hot water, okay? And all you do is you just stir that in. And I like to stir it like when I first start making my my cornbread, and then I just stick it in the refrigerator because the water's hot. And so that's all you do. And then I would go from here to put it in the refrigerator. And that recipe makes 2 flax eggs, okay? We're going to put it over there for now. So we're going to get back to stirring our onions a little bit. We've got some onions and a little sea salt in here. And I'm going to add what is going to take the longest to cook. So today I have collards. I have kale. Collards came from the farmer's market this weekend. Kale came from the farmer's market. And got some Swiss chard that came from my garden. So, but you can use whatever you like. If you want to use turnips, or if you want to use mustard greens, just whatever you like. It's a mix of greens. Like I said, the collards are going to take the longest to cook. But if you want to use like turnips or mustards, of course, they won't take as long. Okay. All right. And we're just going to go right in the pan with those. I've got some already cut up here. Okay. We're just going to saute them and get them going. And what is the most cruciferous, I'll go in with next. Okay. So just going to put that in and sprinkle a little sea salt on here. Okay. A little granulated garlic. And some black pepper. You can use red pepper flakes if you like. I like to sometimes finish it with a little red pepper flake just at the end. But you can use whatever you like. Even if you want to put like some fresh peppers in there, This is a great time to go to the farmer's market and see what they've got. So I'm going to put a little water in the pan to try to get these going a little bit. Turn that heat up. Okay. All right. So I'm going to just continue to put some collars in as they're wilting. And basically what I did was that wasn't a good example, that was a small one. But I just got the stems and I just pulled them off. Some people like stems in their greens. I personally do not. Will I eat them? Yes, I will. But, I'd like to at least get the really tough woody ones out. And you can repurpose these stems. You can roast them like you would do any vegetable and chop them up and put them in things. So you can put them in soups, stews, but by putting them in an oven on high heat, that would be a really great way to break down the stems from the collard greens. Okay, so got those. Going to put these last few greens in here. And you could even juice them, I guess, if you wanted to. I'm not sure how pleasing to the tongue that would be, but you definitely could do it. All right, and then I'm just kind of shredding them, probably about 1/4 of an inch slice. All right, all of these in here so they can get going. And they're already starting to turn a bright green color. And if you feel like if you're cooking for fewer people, you definitely can cut that recipe in half and not have to cook so much. And who doesn't love a good pot of greens? Okay, so they're wilting down. I should have brought some foil. Sometimes you can tint it and kind of get some steam going in here. So we're just going to keep that going on a pretty high heat. Going to add a little red wine vinegar. Now you can also do apple cider vinegar if you prefer. But a little red wine vinegar will just kind of make everything taste amazing. So another trick you can do if you've got the time, instead of adding water, you can add a vegetable stock. So that will give you another layer of flavor as well. And you can see how they are super wilting in this pan here. All right, because it was pretty high, plus I added more to it. I'm going to add a little bit more water. And so we're sort of doing a low braise to these collards before we get going on the other greens. Okay. All right. So next we're going to add our next ones that will cook down a little, take a little longer to cook. And that's our kale. I've already destemmed this. This is lacinato kale or dinosaur kale. And I'm just going to cut them in the same way. And their stems are not as big, but they can be a little tough too. But if you want to leave them in, you certainly can. All right. And I'm just cutting them in the same manner. All right. All right, and now I'm going to cut a little bit more and start taking on the greens in the pan. And this is a really simple recipe. If you had not a crock pot, but a My mind is drawing a blank right now. Pressure cooker, there we go. You could do something similar in your pressure cooker. Okay. Get all this cut up. Check on our greens, stir them up a little bit. Really smells good. That vinegar does a little dance. Okay. All right. So we're going to cut these up. Have them go in. And, you know, if you want to take a shortcut and buy some bagged greens from the store, all I will say is wash them, even though they say they have already been washed. I had to find that out the hard way. Several years ago, I made some for my family and cooked them and everything. And I found something that was not supposed to be in there after the fact. So I buy them. I always wash them just like I would any other bunch of greens several times so the water runs clear. Okay. All right. So I'm just getting these all down to a good size, and then we'll get started on our Swiss chard. So when I'm doing it in a pan like this, I tend to put a bit more water because it's going to cook out. So just drinking this up fairly nicely, but they're getting tender. Okay. All right. And I'm gonna just taste one, just it's nowhere near done, but just taste one for you. So add a little turbinado sugar, cut through the bitterness of the greens. Really, the bitterness is not the vinegar, believe it or not. I'll add more vinegar. Add more seasoning. Let's kind of cook this down. So I'm going to show you all the cornbread that came out a little bit ago. All right. These kind of lightly submerged and steaming here in this pan. All right. So here is the cornbread. Doesn't that look good? You would not know that it was vegan or anything different about it. So it's been sitting out here about 10 minutes, 15 minutes before we got started. All right, you just want to cut some little squares of it. And, you know, if you like to spice it up a little bit, you can add a little jalapeno, some fresh corn to your cornbread. That would be nice. Have a little jalapeno cornbread. All right. Cut it that way. A little bit more and one more cut. Okay. And it may not be the prettiest slice, but here you go. There it is. It's so soft and tender. So that's going to be a great piece of cornbread. I'll stick that there. Right. getting this in. So we can add our kale here. And I may get some more water just to get that heated back up first before I put that kale in. Get a little more water. Any questions yet? It's pretty straightforward.
I have a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
So you added the vinegar. What does that do to the
So the
green?
vinegar, it's almost like a balancer. The greens kind of are a little bitter themselves, but the red wine just cuts through the greens, and gives them, it actually breaks down, it helps to break the greens down, to be honest.
Is that the same with the apple cider vinegar?
Yes.
Okay.
I just, I tend to use the red wine when I'm doing collards, but I have certainly used apple cider when I haven't had it.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. And this Swiss chard will cook really quickly in the pan. And growing up, when we had greens, like we put a lot on our greens. So we had onions, we had green onions, regular onions, pickled onions, which would have been great to do here today, but y'all seen me do it a million times, so you all can do that, even if you pickle some white onions. What else? Tomatoes, some chow. So we would just have a lot of things that we would put on top of the greens. And you could almost make a meal out of the greens all by themselves. So, and sometimes when you go to some restaurants, I know like we have one here locally, they have like something with a whole bunch of stuff you can put on them. You can put chow, you can put, jalapenos, just anything that you like. Sweet peppers, like banana peppers, fresh banana peppers, anything. So this is cooking down nicely. All right, so I'm going to add our kale in here. And if you don't want to mix them, you don't have to mix them. But sometimes you got a little bit of this, you got a little bit of that, and it's just nice to mix them all together. Okay. Add a little bit sea salt, granulated garlic. I'm going to add a little bit more oil here. That's our fat component, because we're not adding meat. All right. And I think I did vinegar on top of the kale. Just a little bit there. And the sugar to balance it out. And then I'm going to take the hot collards and just kind of pick them up and put them on top of the kale. The kale will go ahead and quickly wilt down. Under those collards. Okay. And then you gotta, once they wilt down, you just kind of stir them up, stir them again, and get all of the seasoning in together, so it's not just on that one layer. Okay. And like I said, if you're doing this in a pot or a pan that has a lid, that's a plus. I would say to put the lid on, because the greens will start to sweat and produce more liquid in the pan. All right, Swiss chard in here, so we're ready for it. And I'm just going to do a little bit more because we've got a pretty full pot going. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the chow chow that I made. My aunt used to make the chow chow. I don't really recall my mom making chow chow. She maybe did it a couple of times, but it was always my aunt's thing. So, so I said, I don't really want to pickle it. I want to kind of roast the vegetables. So I, again, was at the farmer's market this weekend and I came across some beautiful green tomatoes. And these weren't like beefsteak that just hadn't turned red yet. These were like they were fully grown, but they were small, almost like an egg-shaped uh, tomato. I forget the variety right now, so please forgive me. um, but I got them and I said, I'm going to roast these. So I also got some jalapenos from the same farmer. I got some onions, some red and green onions from another farmer. I had some scallions at home. And what else? Um, I had a few tomatoes that were a little red, kind of a mix in color. And then I had some garlic that I smashed and put in. And so I roasted that. And so I had a little bit of cabbage at home. So I just cut it almost like a cabbage steak. And I roasted the cabbage and a little bit of celery and just chopped everything out. Put a little grapeseed oil and salt and pepper on it. And just kind of did a rough chop. Then I splashed it with a little bit of vinegar. Again, you can use um, red wine or apple cider, or regular vinegar if that's all you have. And just tossed all of that together, and that's what we've got here. So this is our roasted tomato chow chow, my version. So, but it just it really tastes good. Like I could probably eat it on a cracker or crostini or something. It's just that kind of good. But just to have the local flavors um, that are in season, you just can't beat it. If you're not getting up on Saturday morning, going checking out the farmers market, you're missing out. So definitely take some time this summer to visit them. Even if you can't go every week, try to go once a month. So added our Swiss chard in here, and it's not going to take very long to cook at all. And we're just going to keep cooking this and cooking it through. And I'll show you all the flax egg and see the consistency of that now. That was a little spicy, got up my nose. Oh, excuse me. All right. Okay.
Bless you.
Thank you. What did I say? Oh, the flax egg. So this is the flax egg. And so it's thick, like a beaten egg. You could actually add a little bit more water to it, but it's probably sat there a little longer than normal, but it's just like a beaten egg. And you basically want a binder. And that's what the flax meal does. You use it in place of the egg. So we also have beautiful heirloom tomato that I got this weekend as well. And we're going to use that sort of just as a little decoration on the plate. Not that we need any more, but I'm going to use this bowl as a little temporary lid, if you will. Try to bring a little moisture in. Okay. All right, it fits right on there. So we're just gonna cut. I'm gonna cut about midway the tomato to bypass that core. That's just beautiful. So I'm gonna cut a slice, nice size slice, and then we're gonna just lightly season that. Now, if you got some Italian seasoning, that would be great to put on. Or if you don't have Italian seasoning, you can just use some salt and pepper. But take advantage of the flavors of the summer. Put a ton of it on here. So this is just a little really garlic, salt, pepper. Okay. All right. And I want to taste the greens and kind of see how they are. Clean off a little space, and we're gonna start to plate up. Get a fork. Okay, it's all good. So we're gonna, they are steaming, the grains are steaming. Let me see now that I have done this. Can I get back in the pot? Oh, yes. And it's hot, folks. Okay. See more in. And you can also add, if you want a little bit more umami flavor, you can add in some miso paste. So this miso is soy free. It's made out of chickpeas. It tastes really good, y'all. Splashing it everywhere. I'm going to add the rest of this salt. A little bit of sugar. They aren't going to be sweet greens, I promise. But you do what you like, you know. The sugar just kind of balances out the vinegar. And then just a little bit of the miso paste. So this is the miso. This is just a little, like a little bit more than a tablespoon. And I'm just going to mix this in with the pot liquor now that we've got going from the greens. Okay. So just a little bit of it until it's kind of dissolved. So that's probably, I'd say it's about a heaping teaspoon. You don't have to do a whole tablespoon, but and if you want, you can put this in a cup and stir it in to dissolve it. But that's all I'm doing. I'm just kind of stirring it in the pan. And so miso is just has really good umami flavor. This one is made out of chickpeas instead of soybean. Most of them made out of soybeans, some kind of rice, and this one is made out of chickpeas. Okay. All right.
Chef, can you tell us again what's the purpose of adding it?
It should give you that umami and that mouthfeel that you would have if you, like you thought chicken stock was in here, or you added, you know, chicken, turkey wings or something like that, you know, just to give you a different sense of, you know, not five senses, but, you know, to get one of the things you want to do, like salt, sweet, you know, sour, all of that. The umami is like, I think, the sixth sense. So I've got that in, and I'm just going to start mixing the greens over where that was so that they can all get some of that goodness in there. And I even use this when I do like a pot of greens too, and I'm braising them in a whole bunch of water. I had a little bit of miso to it. And like I said, if you have some red pepper flake, that would be good to go in here. Or you can even put a little cayenne. Okay. I'm going to taste it one more again. And then I'll plate up for it. It's good. Like balanced. And if you want to put the lid on and cook it for a little longer, you definitely can. But I'm going to plate it up now for you all. All right. All right. To it, we'll add a piece of our tomato. Yeah. Our chow chow. Our chunky chow chow.
I think the in studio crowd is going to really enjoy this.
And then a little bit of cornbread. Right on the side there. And there you have it. A mess of greens with vegan cornbread, our spiced tomato, and roasted chow chow.
Chef, it looks outstanding.
Thank you.
Well, folks, that's it for the June episode. We hope to see you in July 28th. And we'll be back with, Chef, do you remember what we're cooking next month?
I think we're doing our farmer's market pasta.
That's right. Well, we look forward to seeing you then. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.